And now I'm very happy to welcome back a wonderful handicapper who works on both sides of the window. You know him from betting on sports at mybookie.com and his great plays and insights from docsports.com. I'm very happy to bring back Mr. Raphael Esparza to the Odds Breakers. You can follow him at VSI Doc Sports. Raph, the summer is flying by. My kids literally started school yesterday, man. Football's around the corner. How the heck you been doing?
Wow, so I can't believe you said school starts pretty soon. But yeah, that's crazy. All the TV commercials are back to school, back to school. So I guess I'm happy that they're going back to school so I can get some of my coffee shops and breakfast shops to myself when the kids are back to school. So I guess that's a good thing that the kids are going. But I'm doing well. You know, the summer is here. It seems like it's 100 degrees everywhere in the United States. So I'm kind of actually looking forward to football season because of the weather of anything else than that I enjoy the fall.
Oh, for sure. Me too. And Vegas, for some reason, has been pretty warm the last couple of weeks, and like uncannily. And I think you need a cold front coming in or some rain. You know, that's always a good thing to lighten stuff up for you guys, especially when you're doing all that construction over there at your house.
Yeah. Rain? What's that? That's It's crazy when people say, how much rain does Vegas get? Like nothing. I mean, there's some days if I drink a lot, I pee more than when Vegas got rain that year, let alone that. So
it's a thing that happens for a month straight in June in the Midwest. That's what it is. When you think about building a boat because you might start floating away. That's what it is. But out in the West here, we don't get it quite as much. So
not at all. Not at all. Midwest we do. I have a place up in New Orleans. I see a lot of rain up there as well. But in the West Coast, nada.
Well, I'll tell you this, Raph. It's great having you on here, and I've been really looking forward to this because this is the fun stuff, man. What we talk about, the prop bets, the tickets. You know, there's some big payouts for some of these props, and I'm excited to get into that, especially in the NFL side of things. But before we get into the NFL side of things, I want to talk about the prop betting market in general. Since you make props for MyBookie and other lines as well, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers what are some of the more popular ones that you have that are getting some action?
Of course, we had some great ones in the boxing ones with Logan, with both the Paul brothers in their boxing ones. I mean, phenomenal action. We took 6-figure bets on those fights. I mean, the last Paul fight had more action than that Saturday UFC event. So you can make fun of them, but I don't want to say they're saving boxing, but they're bringing people maybe back to boxing. So I would say a little bit back and forth on it. So, of course, we're getting tons of action at movie prop bets. Now that people are going back to the movies, I did a whole bunch of Black Widow prop bets. I'm actually working on a whole bunch of Star Wars prop bets right now because Disney Plus is releasing Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series. I think next year the Book of Boba Fett comes out, I do believe, in December. So I'm working on prop bets on that. I did a whole bunch of Jeff Bezos launch odds a couple of days ago, which were talked about on CNN, which was kind of crazy to see CNN talk about how come Jeff Bezos didn't puke on camera, which one of the prop bets that I had. Out there. So that was kind of interesting that they were actually talking about my prop bets on CNN. So, I mean, you know me, you see my emails, my PR teams would just call me and text me all the time stuff. Hey, did you see this on social media? What do you think about that? So I've done Britney Spears courtship prop bets. I mean, you name it. I will put up a prop bets. And I did Maria Taylor prop bets with her dispute with Rachel Nichols. And I put a prop bet. Will she work with Drew Brees? Now that she's going over to NBC, we all know the flack that they had over Drew Brees' comments was a year ago. It seems like it's been longer. So anything that's old on social media that's shock and awe, I'll put a prop bet on it just because, people are like, oh, I can't believe you put a prop bet. But it's all for customer service. You don't think these people are going to make a prop bet and if they win, they're not going to bet their favorite football team in week 1 or Super Bowl or World Series or Olympics that we have going on right now, which we're taking a lot of action on. So I do it for that reason. I don't care if we lose because you know what? They're going to rebet it on something that's on a Sunday NFL game or college football or something like that. So it all works together, especially when it comes to prop bets.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's like people that make bets on a blackjack table, they're not prone to leave the table when their stack's getting a little bit bigger. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, well, I don't need the money. Let's just have fun. And then sometimes they make some poor bets. And that's what we always preach against here at the Odds Breakers. But I got to tell you, it's really funny that you do this because, to be honest with you, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are saying, I'll bet you $1,000 Brittany gets out of her courtship or whatever that's called. I'll bet you $1,000 that they resolve their relationship over at ESPN, or things like that. People are just doing that with each other. They're talking about, I'll bet you this, I'll bet you that. You're actually making the real props from a sports book perspective on real life situations, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, and it's a lot of research. I mean, I was digging. Not only do I have to do research, but I make phone calls and emails to people in the business that I've met. And so, I mean, just on Maria Taylor, we'll go back to that sample. I found out that she got 2 big offers from NBC and Amazon, which Amazon, they're in the NFL market now, going to be showing Thursday games. So they try to lure her. And the money that ESPN was offering her, I heard anywhere between $3 to $4 million, which she turned down a $7 million contract a couple of years ago before COVID, and now she was getting more money from NBC and Amazon, but they kept on betting at the people that thought they knew more than me. Oh, she's going to stay at ESPN. There's no way ESPN's going to let her go. They're probably going to get rid of Rachel Nichols and stuff like that. Well, Rachel Nichols sent a thank you card for Stephen A. Smith because that got her off the hot seat after what Stephen A. Smith said. So it's crazy, but I love doing the research. It's nothing better than just doing the research when I do the Jeff Bezos launch odds. I mean, I probably learned more on the 6 hours research that I did than probably my whole 4 years in high school in the science program. So that's the part that I enjoyed the most is doing the research.
Oh, for sure. The research is fun. It's all part of the process. I imagine it must be really funny for you when you're making like Star Wars props and stuff. You're probably the first person to watch the episode to see if you're right or not.
Yes. Because people always ask me, I didn't get paid out on this prop bet, or how come this happened in this sports book? I tell people I'm a literally odds maker. I'm not a trader. That's why I don't call myself a trader, because I probably trade maybe a handful of times a year. At Mybookie that I work for, if they need help, if I'm watching the Emmys or WrestleMania or something like that, I'll trade for that weekend because I did those odds and I kind of want to see where the money's going and where it's not and all that. But if I set odds on something, I'm not moving the number because I don't have time to do that. If they want to pay me to do that, well, yeah, I'll do it. But if they offer me to do it, then I'll help them out. But that's why I consider myself a true odds maker. I'm not moving the numbers. I'm not a trader like we have now with people. That's what they're called now, traders. They're not even called odds makers anymore. They're traders. Well, I consider myself an odds maker because I'm not the one that's moving the numbers after I make the line.
Oh, I totally get that, man. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Is there any cool new prop bets off the beaten path coming in for this year? For example, like maybe a COVID prop or something like that. Like will there be games postponed in college or canceled by COVID? Have you thought about that yet?
I had 4 or 5 prop bets. It's funny. I got your email what we're talking about. I'm like, all right, I'm already working on 4 to 5 in the NFL and probably 3 to 4 in college football. And then the big news of the NFL came out today saying that, hey, if any of these players got tested positive and they weren't vaccinated and they throw an outbreak in the locker room and we can't move the data and all that, they're forfeiting. It's a loss. And those players don't get paid for that week or whatever. So they actually threw a bit of a wrench into my prop bet. So now I'm going to have to actually read the rules a lot thoroughly when I'm done talking to you or after dinner today, because I'm going to probably have to go back and rearrange on how I was looking at putting odds. I can guarantee you some of my numbers are probably going to flip-flop now from what came out today in college or in the NFL, because I can guarantee you college is probably going to piggyback on what the NFL did today with their announcement of COVID.
So basically, can you go into that rule change a little bit more? They're going to, if you spread it in the locker room, you could be liable for something?
If you're unvaccinated, if you say, let's say, they're calling it the Beasley rule. If the guy from Cole Beasley from Buffalo that refuses to take it and all that, if he gets it and he misses, let's say 2 weeks or whatever, he's not going to get paid for those 2 weeks. And if he spreads it, I don't know how they're going to find if he spreads it. But if they have an outbreak in that locker room and they can't move their dates or find a reliable date with the other team, they're going to forfeit. It's just a loss. Too bad, too sad. We can't move it. Not like last year where we're going to move it through. It could be a possible Week 19 game. Well, if both teams can't find a rescheduled date, then that team gets forfeited.
What happens if you are vaccinated and you get it and spread it?
Well, what I've been reading since I've been doing a lot and talking to, I actually saw my cardiologist the other day, and I actually asked him that question just in case, because I've already had it. Do I get it again? He's like, most cases when you do have it and you get it again and you're vaccinated, you're really only having it maybe 2 to 3 days. You're not like, oh, you need to go get a ventilator. You're in the emergency room and stuff like that. So I would think if you get it, you're probably only going to be out maybe the small rule. I heard that they're changing the smaller rules. Like if you're vaccinated and you got it, you can be tested, I think, 5 days or 3 days. And if you get negative after that, then you can come back and play.
So they lessen that aspect of it.
Yeah.
You can come back quicker. But, I mean, I don't know the whole – I guess the science behind people that are getting that's vaccinated. I know it's grown. So I'm just wondering how the NFL is going to treat it.
I would guess probably the same. I would guess probably we still got a couple more months before Week 1 kicks off. So I'm sure there's probably going to be a lot more changes in their rules of COVID testing and how long you're out just because of the cases are going higher. When you're vaccinated, you could still get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, good enough. That's good enough to know. Interesting that the NFL is attacking it like that. Really, I don't think that they have a firm decision either. I think we're just going to.
Oh, that could probably change. I would not be shocked that ruling that came out today could be changed by Week 1.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So before we get into the NFL divisions here, I have to ask you about that Aaron Rodgers prop you put out earlier this year. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
What are you thinking about that one right now?
Either he puts the G back on his head or he's retiring. I don't think he goes anywhere else. I don't think he plays anywhere else. To me, I'm almost leaning towards deuces, I'm out. I would not be shocked. I mean, if you read his fiance's article, I forgot, in the Hollywood Reporter, I think it came out Monday. Yes, I did read it, and just because I was thinking of other prop bets. But you could just tell on how she approached Hollywood about how she almost retired because she was just tired of the BS and she has enough money, blah, 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 blah. It's almost like I was reading that article, but Aaron Rodgers wrote it. So I would not be shocked if I think he only wears a Green Bay helmet or he goes deuces, I'm out.
What would you put the spread? What would you put the number on that?
I would say he still plays at least one more year in Green Bay, and either he wants to go somewhere else or he's done. I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, I got plus 550 on that. He puts a Green Bay jersey on, Ralph. So
yeah, I remember you telling me. But you know what? If I were you, I think the longer this portrayals out, I think more nervous I would get, because I think if he was 100% coming back, I think somebody would have leaked it out by now and say, hey, you know what? He's coming out. Because why would you leak out that he turned down a 2-year deal? Why would you do that tweet yesterday congratulating the Bucs and the owners and missing one of the owners that you're grieving with? Aaron Rodgers is a smart guy. So I do believe he comes back and plays one more year. But again, I would not be shocked if he Andrew Luck's and they're out in a fishing boat on a Sunday when everyone else is playing football.
True, and good points. But how about this? Instead of the 5.5 to 1, I'll let you guys out at 5 to 1 if you want to get out of that bet over at Mybookie.
It's not my call. I would do that, but like I said, it's not my call. And I can guarantee you, all those people who bet Green Bay at that price will probably bet Green Bay to win the division after they cash out Week 1 or something like that against the Saints on Week 1. I think they play the Saints on Week 1 or something like that.
I don't I have to pull it up. Off the top of my head, it's someone like that. But it's a good thing I'm not a Green Bay fan and I'm a Bears fan, so I won't be I won't be cashing that bet out and trying to double up on old Green Bay this year. Yeah, the truth is, I think if Aaron Rodgers plays, they're a little overvalued, and I think if he doesn't play, they're a little undervalued.
I couldn't agree more. If he doesn't play, people are going to treat them like the Detroit Lions or the Houston Texans, even us odds makers. Oh, they're going to be -14. They're going to be +14 now in week 1 because no Aaron Rodgers. When, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. I would not be shocked if Love wins MVP or something and he
Well, I know, right? That'd be insane. That'd be like Matt LaFleur better get Coach of the Year if Love's winning the MVP as well. You might as well just parlay that one together. But yeah, thanks for letting me bust your balls for a second. Let's get
not my money. No.
Let's get into a little NFL then, man. And I'm so happy to talk to you about this because you said a lot of these numbers. You said a lot of the props up at mybookie.com. And we'll just kind of talk about just the divisions itself in general. If you got something, you do. If you don't, then we'll get into like the specialty markets after that. Let's start with the NFC North since we talked about it a little bit. Is there anything the public's betting on that? And I'll just go first here. I did take 6-1 right when the Aaron Rodgers news came out on the Bears to win the division. Now it's down to 3.25-1 at MyBookie right now, but I mean, here the way I thought is like I saw the Vikings at like 3-1 and the Bears at 6-1. I don't see that much of a difference between the Bears and the Vikings. I do know the Vikings have an easier schedule. That's just the one I chose. I guess I'm a Bears fan. I don't know. I saw some value. Apparently, I do have line value on that. Who's the public betting in the NFC North?
Vikings. I mean, I would say between Green Bay and Vikings. Last time I saw ticket count, I think, of course, Green Bay was more, but Vikings were pretty close to up there with them. And I think they just realized the Bears are going to be the Bears until their quarterback shows us something. Because last time I checked, they have a rookie quarterback and a guy that should play Richie Cunningham if they ever do the Happy Days remake. I would say it's because of the Vikings. I mean, do you really want to bet the Lions with a 16-1? So I think the Vikings defense and the playmakers they have offense, I think that's why they get a lot of attention. When you really think about the Bears, you only think about that defense, which that defense wasn't really even that good last year. They gave up a lot of points, and Mac wasn't nothing last year like he was when he first came to Chicago. So I think that's the reason why people love jumping on the Vikings, which I'm not sold on Minnesota either.
Yeah, the problem with the Bears, Quinn was horrible signing from Dallas, and they just were able to continue to double team Mac, which when Hicks was injured for a while, that hurt him a little bit too. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Everyone's on the Vikings, so I'm kind of crossing my fingers here. Did you make any plays in this division?
No, I haven't made. There was one division that I was because again I was tossed up with Green Bay's big question marks. Now, would I make it a play if, let's say, Rodgers would come back? Because I think they might have Green Bay and Detroit right neck and neck if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back. So I would definitely probably take some plus money on Green Bay if, let's say, Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back.
I think Green Bay's roster is the best roster in the NFC North either way. Of course, without Rodgers, I mean, is there that much of a step down comparing Cousins and Dalton, and who knows what Fields is going to be? Obviously, we know about Jared Goff and the Lions rebuilding. So, I might even take the Packers at the -120. I think it is now. I got to double check that. It
is -120.
Yeah, I'm considering doing that just to hedge out my Bears. Well, let's go to the next division here. Do you have anything in the NFC South that the public or that you like?
I'm looking to fade the Saints. I'm not sold on their quarterback situation. I'm not sold on their defense because their defense got older. I'm not sold on any of the moves that they make. I'm not sold on their wide receiver crew because I think Michael Thomas is a head case. I'm actually shocked that they didn't try to shop him around. He got paid, and now he's acting like a wide receiver, like what most wide receivers do in their career. So I'm not sold on them. So I'm looking to fade them. I'm fading on total season wins. I'm fading them probably in a lot of games. Unless Jameson and Hill prove me wrong, they may say the first couple of weeks of regular season, I have enough time to maybe jump off those fades that I've done, but I'm not sold on them. Do I think Tampa's going to win it all? Again, I'm tired of betting against Tom Brady and him giving me the double bird. I'm just tired of it. So I'm not going to play anything, but I think the Falcons could be a lot better than what people think They are. I know they're 6-1. I know they're Matt Ryan's older, but I mean they got rid of Julio Jones, which I don't know what people made a big deal. He seems like he was always hurt. He's not like he was playing all 16 games and putting up Julio Jones numbers. So I don't think that move was devastating. So I'm gonna probably look at some Falcons futures probably down the road as well.
Yeah, Jones played when he wanted to because he didn't want to sacrifice his career for a team that was losing. Kind of, in my opinion, I think his ailments were there, but he could have played, and who knows what he's going to be at the Titans. I agree with you. I fade the Saints. I went under their win total, and I got plus money on it too. They lost so much to free agency. I hate the Winston Taysom Hill thing. It throws the team off. Now, when Breeze was there, Taysom Hill's okay because Breeze is the lock. People have no concerns, right? It's always going to be Drew Brees first, right? Well, now that you have this, it creates a lot of controversy. And I hate betting against Sean Payton in general, but this might be the one year that it happens. So I agree with you. I took it myself. So good stuff on that division. And yeah, I'm not betting against Tom Brady.
I'm tired of him giving me the double bird when I'm throwing away a ticket or watching my money fade away, and he's laughing at me.
Let's move to the NFC East then. Anything that you like or the public's on?
I'm torn in this division. I think I would not be shocked if all 4 teams will win the division. Would not be blown away. This is probably one of the toughest. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best division, but it's probably one of the toughest divisions to look at and say, you know what, this team's going to dominate, or this team's going to make a playoff run, or this team's going to win the division easily. Because I think the Giants, if they're healthy, can play better. We all know what Washington can do on a defensive side. If they get any kind of offense, they're going to be forced to be reckoned with. Cowboys got healthier. Dak Prescott's back. Jerry Jones is crying at spring training football. So anything can happen in Dallas. And then the Eagles, maybe they will be better this year than what they were last year, getting rid of some head cases in that locker room and bringing in some new blood. So I'm torn on this one. I think that's why I stayed away on futures, on everything because I have no clue on which 4 of these teams is going to win a division. Not one clue.
Well, I'm fading Dallas in this division, and I took their under 9.5. I don't believe that Dak Prescott is a full game quarterback. I think he's a one-quarter quarterback. And I've seen it many, many times. I don't like their offensive line. It was terrible for Zeke last year, and they didn't really do a whole lot to fix it, in my opinion. Obviously, they have playmakers and pass catchers, but that defense still is banged up, and they don't have a ton of depth. And I know they drafted some linebackers, and we'll see what happens with them. But I don't think the Cowboys are there, and I really don't like their coach. Yeah, I don't. I think they called him McToad over in Green Bay. And I have a lot of friends being a Badger fan and alumni that went to Green Bay. But Mike McCarthy is one of the worst coaches, I think, in football. So I'm fading them. So what happened is I just took the Giants at plus 515, and I took the Washington football team at plus 250 or something. I got to remember, but I think, I'm just fading Dallas and taking those 2 shots. I think, it pays if one of them hits, right?
Hey, it's smart. I really, if I had to pick one that I think that could win it and play tough defensive football for Washington, I think if they get any kind of good quarterback play and offensive play, they can easily run away with that division.
Plus, Fitzmagic is playing with house money right
now.
Yeah. He has nothing to prove. No pressure. He can retire and not care. The guy's attitude. I like that free attitude, the no pressure type attitude. Coming in, Ron Rivera is a great coach for that situation. I think might be his year. The guy's got a lot of arm talent. I've seen him on Miami bail out Tua plenty of times last year. So, totally agree. Move into the NFC West, man. And this division's a complete mess, in my opinion, because they're all good.
Yeah, I don't know how you pick. When we have the Rams at 2-1, the 49ers at plus 205, the Seahawks at plus 275, let's have Arizona at 4-1. That just tells you right there that, this is the best division in football, period. Bar none. Try to find another one that will subtract that. I just think this is the best division in football. I want to say I like Seattle. I think maybe Russell Wilson shuts down all the trade rumors or all the stuff that happened in summer and has a really good year. But I really like Arizona at 4-1. I think you're getting great value on that. I'm actually shocked that it wasn't like plus 3-1 or something. Like getting 4-1 to win a division when anything can happen. We don't know how the Rams are going to be with their new quarterback, and I mean they have a great defense and Arnold key in that. But how could you not look at Arizona and say, "Wow, 4-1"? That's a pretty good steal. Roll the dice, and maybe if they start off slow, you can maybe hedge towards maybe weeks 3, week 4, week 5 to try to get some of that money back if you're looking at futures. But I like Arizona. I think 4-1. And you know what? Watt in that locker room, hey, who cares about his play? But I think his locker room presence, I think, is going to be big for that Arizona defense.
J.J. Watt. Yeah, J.J. I'm a big Watt fan, obviously. So I guess I'm sour on because I had him at 7-1 last year. I mean, Arizona didn't come through for me, but of course they did improve their team. They got Zaven Collins. I love that draft pick, and that's a little wink for later in our discussion. So I might be bringing his name up again. But this division, any of these teams would make the playoffs if they are somewhere else. You know.
Oh yeah,
that's what I think. I think they're all stacked, and I think the Cam Akers thing with the Rams, that's an overreaction. It's a running back. It's a system in LA there under Sean McVay. It's a system, and that's not going to matter that much. What I do know is a lot of people are taking Seattle at 2.5, 3-1, and I'm not sure if you like that number. I don't, and if you did, I disagree with that because the way you look at it is if every team is exactly equal, that means it's 3-1 for 4 teams in the division, yes. Right? And so Seattle has the number 1 schedule because they were first place last year, and they still have that awful defense, and the other teams all upgraded, and the Niners are now healthy. So I could not – and I did hear another podcast say there's value now that Cam Akers was injured. I'm not going to mention any names, but I completely disagree with them because
it's a running back. It's a running back. I mean, it's not like running back is a dime a dozen. You can find a running back in a CFL if you really need one because they're going to be, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in before the NFL season starts if you desperately need a running back.
100%. So agreed there. I stayed away from this division. 3-1 is not good odds on Seattle. Moving on to the AFC here. What do we have next? And the AFC North. We have obviously with the Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
I can't believe we're going to say this, but I kind of agree with a lot of people over at the mothership of ESPN. How can you not look at Pittsburgh and say, you know what? They were 11-0 last year. I think they were devastated afterwards because their defense got light because they lost people left and right on their defense. I think that's why they lost a lot of their games, not because of how bad Big Ben was playing or how they couldn't run the ball. But I think getting plus 350 on the Pittsburgh Steelers, why not? All they do is win double-digit wins. It seems like year after year after year after year. I'll take the plus 350. I'm still not 100% sold on Baltimore with Jackson. I think if there's any maybe team that would scare me to win a division would be the Browns. They've got. I think they improved again on defense, and Baker Mayfield coming in a little bit more positive because he had a good year last year. There was nothing talked about, oh, is this Baker Mayfield's last season if he doesn't prove himself? Well, to me, I thought he proved himself last year. So he has no monkey on his shoulder this year. I would say getting Pittsburgh at plus 350. And I even saw 4-1 in some shops to win a division. I like Pittsburgh.
Did he sign a contract, Baker Mayfield, yet?
I don't think he has. I could be wrong.
I don't think so. Yeah, he should. Because I'm concerned for Cleveland a little bit. Their Pythag was under 50%. They scored less points than the teams that played them last year. So that worries me for them. Now they are stacked. I would say they probably have the second best roster behind Tampa, I would say. But can Stefanski put it all together? I don't know. I didn't know ESPN said that because that's my answer too. I said if there's any team I'm taking, it's Pittsburgh plus 350, or I think I saw it plus 380 or 4-1, and I considered it. But the thing about Pittsburgh is they went from the easiest schedule to the hardest schedule, or one of the hardest schedules now. And they have a first place schedule, which means Kansas City. It means Buffalo, and that's I think the first game of the year actually for them.
I do believe so.
And so they get the best of the best. Tennessee in their at large. So that's my problem. I'm still thinking about it, but I do agree. I guess if ESPN said that, I agree with them. Let's move on to the next one. We have the AFC South here with a couple good teams and a couple bad ones.
Bad ones is understatement. Jacksonville, Houston. You know what? I think Jacksonville's going to be more name-like bad, not just team bad. I mean, because they have a lot of names on their jerseys and names on their head coaches. So if they start off bad, I think we're going to hear those names, not the team that's playing bad. So I feel bad for Jacksonville, but Houston's just going to be a complete mess. I mean, it's really Colts Titans, and if I had to choose anything, I mean, there's no value with Tennessee at even money in this division because one key injury could put a huge setback on them. So I think Tennessee wins this division. If you can find better value than even money, I say maybe look at that. But I think Tennessee wins the division. I'm not sold on the Colts yet. I've been wrong with them before. But I'm just not putting my money on the moves that they made. And I wasn't really pleased on their draft picks either.
Okay, that's fair. I like the Colts, and I don't like them at even money either. They're even money with the Titans. I mean, whatever. Yeah, if you can find them at plus 150 or better, then I would take it. I might even take either of those teams really at plus 150, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, because you got to factor the other two almost completely out of this. I like Darius Leonard. I think they have a defense, and I know the Titans don't. The Titans have the first place schedule, so that's my only problem. I didn't take anything yet, though. I think I might have taken the win total for the Colts over. I gotta remember. I think I did. Yeah, I did take that. So that's a play for you listeners out there. If it's still around the, I think I got 10 plus money. That's what it was, something like that. So I'll double check it, but that was my play. Let's move on to the next division. We have the AFC the AFC East.
You know, a lot of listeners are probably going to be surprised in this, but I'm not sold on Buffalo this year. I really like this Patriots team. People keep on forgetting they lost a lot of guys that didn't play last year because of COVID. So they're getting all those guys back. Then again, all the additions they got during the offseason. I know Cam Newton's there, but I don't think he's going to be the quarterback for long. I think he's just going to probably play well and bring in their number one draft pick. I like the Patriots at 3-1. I mean, come on. They had to watch Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. You don't think that's motivation in the locker room right now? I'm not sold on Buffalo. I'm not saying they're going to have a key injury or they're just going to play bad, but this is New England. And you're telling me I can give 3-1. I think the highest I seen this was plus 450. I don't know when it was, but I do remember because I remember going back maybe a week ago to see if that plus 450 was still there, and it wasn't, and I kicked myself. But I like the Patriots. I have them total season wins. I have them to win a division because they're the Patriots, and they had to watch Tom Brady at the White House the other day. I like them. I think they're going to be very surprisingly. It would not be shocked if it's New England and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl either.
Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it? Holy cow, that'd be real fun. Oh, man, I'll tell you right now, Raph, I've heard so many opposite opinions on this Patriots outlook, from a lot of respected people, a lot of podcasts. And it's so interesting. The way I look at it, I don't like Cam. Mac Jones could be great. I mean, he played in a pro-style offense at Alabama, and I saw some of his checkdowns and adjustments, and I know he's throwing Devontae Smith and Waddle and some other the great players, but the dude was accurate. I almost like him better than Cam if he lives up to his potential. He was drafted a little later. That could mean a chip on his shoulder. They spent the most amount of money out of any team, and that's not the Patriot way. But when they realize they lost Brady, they're going for it. My problem is Cam. I have him at about 9 wins. I mean, so I think the plus 350, if that's your way of thinking, isn't bad at all. But I still think it's Buffalo's division. And I agree.
I 110% agree on anyone that says it's Buffalo's division. I 110% agree. But I love chaos. I love drama. I love TV writing itself. New England playing good and getting double-digit wins and making a playoff run is good TV drama.
All it takes is a quarterback injury to Josh Allen, and he does run a little bit, so you never know. That's why you take some of these chances, right? Let's move on to the AFC West, then ended off with the Super Bowl ex-champions, Kansas City Chiefs, but they made it again last year. And obviously some up-and-coming teams like the Chargers and, maybe Denver. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe Denver. I mean, I like their defense. I think their defense can play well. Now, here's another one. Quarterback is who's going to be their quarterback? I mean, who knows? Bridgewater, myself, my wife's best friend lives in Denver. I can go there and maybe be the third string and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be the biggest question mark. Will they pick up a quarterback by the time week one comes around? Because there's still rumors of them looking at maybe Aaron Rodgers and blah, 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 blah. It's Kansas City's division to lose. And I know it's minus 250, but they got Mahomes. I mean, people are still talking to him. I think he can walk on water and probably throw a touchdown pass. I just don't see how they do not win the division unless they have a key injury. But I really like this Chargers team. I think this team's going to play really well. I love the offense. They got some key additions on defense coming back that was injured last year. I like the defensive line. Their secondary is fast. So do I think they're going to have a hiccup and maybe overrun this division and jump over Kansas City? No, but they're going to probably grab a wild card. That would not shock me. I can't wait to watch this Chargers team.
Yeah, to be honest with you, there is public on the Chargers, right? From what I heard.
Yes.
I don't know what Mybookie shot. That's one I agree with the public on, and I haven't taken them yet. But, I mean, Kansas City has just been doing unimaginable quarterback play over the last 3-4 years. It's got to, I mean, geez, I cannot believe what he's doing. And of course, he's got that camaraderie with Kelsey. Kelsey knows when to cut and he knows when to throw to him. That's what it is, really. Improvisation that happens in both of their minds at the same time. It's almost magical. But there's got to be a point where they regress. It was really interesting. They did make that trade. They really improved their offensive line again. I'm concerned for their defense. Frank Clark, stupid gun charges. There's some issues on defense there, and there's maybe going to be a year of regression here. I don't know when I'm going to take the Chargers or what I'm going to do with them. Maybe it's going to be a division play. Maybe I'm going to try for the big AFC. It's interesting. I think you can just bet them at even minus 110 to make the playoffs. So yeah, that's one thing I'm certainly consider. But the reason I like the Chargers is because I like their coach. I like who they hired. You know, different than Miami. Miami, to fill their offense coordinators, promoted the guys under the guy that got fired. You know, I'm like, why would you do that? And the Chargers, they got Lombardi for offensive coordinator, who was behind Sean Payton for 4 or 5 years. Yeah, I think that's smart. They got a guy behind Fangio. Yeah, that's why I like them. And of course,
I can't wait to watch what Hewitt does. I mean, because sometimes we hear about the sophomore slump stuff like that, but his arm strength and his pocket presence is really, really good. So I'm excited. Again, that's why I can't wait to watch them.
All right, man. Well, we covered that well. Let's get into the specialty markets then that Mybookie was so nice enough to put up a bunch of numbers for us here. Let's start with the big one, the Super Bowl odds. And I'll start. I didn't make any plays right now. It's kind of like what you said. Do you want to keep betting against this Tom Brady guy? Because Tom Brady's interesting. If they could limp into the playoffs, and they'd still be awesome, right? That's just what they do. Or maybe he's going to do what he says. And he said it'd be nice to go 20-0. I think that's a quote from him in the offseason. I don't know what to do, but I know that they're 3-1 to win the Super Bowl, which is really bad odds to take. But I stayed away. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I normally don't play super odds to win a Super Bowl, stuff like that. That's probably one of the only sports that I don't try to dab. I mean, I'll play NBA to win the NBA, to win the World Series and stuff like that. But the Super Bowl, unless for something comes out and just screams at me, well, that's way too high, then I'll take a stab. Like, I think Seattle at 22-1. I think that's a little bit too tad high. Pittsburgh 40-1. And I think that's way too high because you never know. But maybe if you can get them to late in the playoffs, you can hedge off that ticket. Big Ben wins his last one and walks off to sunset. That's an interesting storyline. But yeah, I mean, it's Kansas City, Tampa. I mean, those two teams. I just don't see those two, unless devastating injuries. I just don't see them not one of those two teams on Sunday when I only eat chicken wings pretty much that only one day of the year. One of those two teams are playing.
Plus, you're gonna get the same odds all year.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna go anywhere.
They ain't going anywhere. Not these numbers. Unless you're really thinking about betting like I would say the Bears or something, right? That's 50-1. Yeah, sure. If they go 6-0, you're going to get less of a number, but that's probably not going to happen. And I would rather just kind of sit and wait, because a team can go 12-0 and still lose the Super Bowl. I mean, there's levels here.
Pittsburgh went 11-0 last year, and they weren't even close to the Super Bowl.
Horrible, exactly. So that's kind of the whole weirdness about the Super Bowl itself. It's a fan bet, the way I look at it. It's a fan bet.
It's a bet that pays my salary. That's what I should tell people. Futures like that pay my salary. That and parlays pay my salary.
And I have the same thoughts about the next question, the NFC and AFC championship odds. I mean, here's what I would be inclined to, I guess. For the AFC, it's a harder path. There's better quarterbacks, in my opinion. You got Buffalo 7-1, Indianapolis 12-1, and the Chargers 14-1 is the attractive things to me. But just like I said before, I think you can get these numbers all year, because you still have your KC monster that's going to be sitting there all year. You have your Tampa monster. Buffalo can be 12-3, and you'll probably still get 7-1, right? There's no rush to do this stuff.
That's right. That's why I posted those two odds. I'm sure I sent you, like a conference to win the Super Bowl and division to win the Super Bowl. I mean, so if you're not going to bet the conference, well, you know what? Then bet the division who's going to win the Super Bowl. So now you have 4 chances to win you have 4 teams to win the Super Bowl. AFC West 250. I think the NFC West is I think 3-1 or whatever. I don't have them memorized, stuff like that. But that's why I kind of created and posted those odds. So you give other options if you don't want to bet the Cowboys to win the NFC or the Bears to win NFC. Well, you know what? Pick their division then, and you could still root for them to make it into the Super Bowl. And now they just make it to the Super Bowl and you cash.
Yeah, exactly. You can bet what you want in the Super Bowl. Maybe you're only going to bet $50 on it. Well, guess what? You can put $1,000 when they make the Super Bowl, make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Think they're going to win. Of course, you'll lose more, but I mean that's just the way fans think. Let's move on to before we move on, if you're going to do an NFC Championship one, I think the Packers is the only one that would get worse. It's 7-1,
yes,
right? And so, and guess what? Say they play Tampa again in the NFC Championship game. Maybe it's in Tampa. I don't know. Maybe it's in Green Bay, but you're going to be able to hedge that 7-1. You're going to get almost 3-1, 3.5-1. If it's an even money-ish spread, if it's in Green Bay, heck, Green Bay was favored last year, and so that's the only one that you could toy with, in my opinion.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's go to the next one then. Making the playoffs. And I have a play here. But I'm going to ask you first. Do you have anybody to make the playoffs?
I played a couple. I played Arizona. I think I got at that time. I think I got plus 150. I think it's plus 145. I played the Saints and not making the playoffs. I can't think of that. I have 3 plays. Oh, I laid the heavy wood on the Raiders on not making the playoffs, because I'm sorry, until the Raiders of Las Vegas can do something to make them the first fan base in that city, because there's always going to be a Golden Knights until I think the Raiders host a Super Bowl, not even a playoff or a conference win. They need to host a Super Bowl for that city to say it's a Raider town before it's a Golden Knight town. Because I'm sorry, I think right now you could agree with it. Vegas is a Golden Knight town, Raider town second when it comes to Vegas. So I don't like what they're doing in Vegas. So I said no on the playoffs. I think I laid a horrible number too. I can check. I think I laid minus 280. So I probably laid the world's worst number in town. And I think my computer screen laughed at me too when I placed that bet. That's how bad number I got.
Look at this. An odds maker is even making bad bets. What is going on with the world right now? Holy cow.
I blame COVID.
Blame it on COVID. And I'll tell you right now, I was thinking about going to the Bears home game in Vegas too when they play the Raiders this year. I was considering it, but
same weekend as Tyson Wilder 3. So that's going to be a very, very busy weekend for me.
Oh, look at that! Oh my God, you might have to do both. Well, I do wonder if the Bears will have more fans than the Raiders, but that's the issue with the Raiders, obviously. But funny thing about Gruden, it's not like he's on the hot seat. He has like a 10-year contract. He's owed a ton of money, and a lot of it's guaranteed, I believe. I think the whole thing's guaranteed, actually. I'm not 100% sure about that, but that's where he stands. And they have no problem not making the playoffs. But the Raiders, I'm staying away from. It just smells weird to me. I like Carolina to make the playoffs, Raf, and I'll tell you why.
I can see that.
And you know what's funny? It's kind of I don't even mind Atlanta, because Atlanta had a Pythag of like over 7 games or something like that. They underachieved to what the amount of points they scored and gave up. But the way I look at it is Carolina is they're the team that doesn't have the new coach. They have the consistency there with Matt Rule. They're plus 275, 2.75 to 1. They have the third place schedule, which is nice. It's Minnesota, which I'm lower on than the market, but whatever. It's a home game at least. Then they go to Arizona. Maybe that's a loss, but they at least have a chance to score some points in Arizona. And at Houston, which is the lowest perceived team in all of football. They get, for their conferences that the NFC South is playing, the NFC East and the AFC East. Where is Carolina located? The East Coast. The East Coast, right. So, I mean, travel-wise, fantastic for them. I know their quarterback, everyone, there's a lot of, I guess, bad perception on what's his name from the Jets, Sam Darnold. And, but this is his year to be out of football, and if anybody can fix him, it's offensive minded Matt Rule, and CMC's back. They're pretty stacked on offensive line now.
I just say their offensive line is stacked too, so he's gonna get protection that he didn't get in New York.
Oh yes, and a better coaching, man. So they're gonna sneak through the season, in my opinion. But they do have a brutal end of the season where they play. I think Tampa twice and New Orleans once and the Buffalo the last 4 games. It's something like that. They have to I think they need one of those wins. But if they can get to 9 wins before that on that easy schedule, NFC East, AFC East, that's gonna be a good thing. So plus
I have to look at that. I might jump on board on that one. I like that.
All right, good stuff. Thank you. Let's move on to the next one. Regular season MVP. Now I'll start here. I didn't make a play.
But I know who you're going to talk about.
Lamar Jackson?
That was my guess that you were going to talk about.
Okay, good. Because, here's the thing. Look at his number last year, and it was a COVID year, weird year, and they still got to the playoffs. And he's 16-1. Mm-hmm. He does so much for that team. He's 16-1. I don't know why. I'm hoping that it doesn't move down after what we're doing because I'm still scratching my head. But if I was going to take any two, it would be him or Wentz at 25-1 for regular season MVP. Kyler Murray also has a good price.
That's mine.
Oh, of course. Well, you're piling up on the Cardinals. The only issue I have against everything that we said is that I can make an argument for a lot of candidates there. I can. I can make an argument for a lot. So 16-1 really that good. I know the media loves him, Lamar. So I don't know.
Ryan Tannehill is also shocking at 25-1.
Ooh, really? Huh.
Yeah. For some, I know everyone concentrates on the running game, but I think now that he has not one but 2 really good, I think, wide receivers that can both spread each side. And if everyone's going to just kind of pile up on their running game, now he can either have both sides to throw the ball. I'm not saying it's going to happen or he's going to land top 3 or get some votes, but 25-1, which I think a Tennessee team, if it can stay healthy and continue to play good defense, could be a shocking team in the playoffs down the road.
They'll just do play action every single play, right? Every single down play action.
Yeah. Play action.
Great points there. See, that's the whole thing. I could just make so many arguments. Maybe I'll tinkle with one of them later. Next one, I do have a play on Defensive Player of the Year. I'm playing Darius Leonard for 33-1, and it makes a ton of sense to me. He led the league in tackles in 2018. He's just got to remain healthy, in my opinion. In 2019, he had 5 interceptions, and he was banged up a few games. Last year, he was banged up a few games, but he was called snubbed for that 2019 season, I believe, to get Defensive Player of the Year. And he can also get to the quarterback a few times. I think if Indy is going to make the playoffs, which I predict, I think that Darius Leonard, it's going to be part of him, part of his leadership on that defense and his playmaking ability. And at 33-1, I think that's a fantastic price.
Yeah, I kind of like TJ Watt at 10-1. I thought that by now, I thought it might be maybe 9-1, 8-1, and all that. So you're still getting double-digit odds with him. So I think if you shop around, you might be able to get a little bit higher. I don't know how much of that. So I think that's the only one that kind of really shocked me. I almost put a prop out. Will Bosa win an NFL defensive player award because there's two of them? But I thought the yes or no was still a little bit too high. So. But I like TJ Watt at 10-1.
Yeah, and Nick Bosa coming off that big injury, Joey Bosa, but they get injured, those guys. I don't know. They play hard, but they get beat up. There's just players.
That'd be a good prop.
They're like Luke Kuechly was, kind of. He played hard, but got beat up.
That'd be kind of cool. Who would get more defensive player votes? Watts brothers or Bosa brothers? I think maybe I can do a prop bet like that right there.
Maybe. Look at this. Already coming up with ideas.
I see I'm already thinking of prop bets.
Remember to credit the Odds Breaker show.
I will credit that if I do that.
Let's move on to the next one too. I'm close on this one too, man. Comeback player of the year.
Oof.
Christian McCaffrey at 6-1 looks like it has value.
I agree.
All he has to do is be healthy because he gets a ton of pass catches and running plays. I mean, it's just screaming at me. But then the greed comes in, and I look at Carson Wentz at 7-1, and there's a couple other guys. Let me actually just pull up the MyBookie odds here on that. And comeback player. Oh, I missed that one. Hold on one sec. Regular player futures. Here we are. Dak Prescott is plus 170. I hate that. I freaking hate that one. Saquon Barkley plus 500 might not even play the month of September. Okay. So there's your two favorites. Then you have Joe Burrow. That worries me a little bit at plus 650, but it's still the Bengals. And
I was just going to say, it's still the Bengals.
Right. It's still the Bengals. And then you have your Carson Wentz at plus 700, Christian McCaffrey at plus 600, Nick Bosa plus 800, Jameis Winston plus 1,000. Yeah, man. I think, and then Jimmy G, if they're really going to stick with him after they stuck it to him in the draft, that he's 16-1. But yeah, I'm really liking my two, but I didn't take it yet. Any thoughts?
I like Sam Darnold.
Okay.
You approved it when you were talking about Carolina. Yeah. With your bet already, I bet that just because I thought if he has any kind of a positive year, and I looked at it, Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley coming off a knee injury that you said it's probably going to still miss some time. Joe Burrow plays for the Bengals. Carson Wentz, I still think he still might have ghost in his head. So how's he going to play? Bosa, I mean, he's probably not going to play a whole season just because of his injury. So Christian McCaffrey, Winston kind of scares me. Let's say he is the starter, and let's say they go to the playoffs, maybe lose and all that. If they can make it to the playoffs, I would not be shocked if maybe he gets some love for. But I'm sorry, Sam Darnold. I think if Carolina can have a better record than the Saints, or maybe just make it to the playoffs, I think he's going to get a lot of love.
Yeah, wow, yeah, totally going with what I said before. But the weird thing about it is they're going to say, is it a comeback when he wasn't hurt? When they look at Christian McCaffrey missing most of the season, and then they look at Carson Wentz being benched, it's almost like more of a comeback when that happens for you just playing at a crappy team. So, but I don't know. I'm not making these decisions. You made a great case for it. Maybe you do a quarter unit on Darnold at 12-1, a quarter unit on Wentz at 7-1, and a half unit on CMC at plus 600, right? At 6-1.
Do you do a full unit on Tim Tebow at 20-1?
Oh my God, dude. Can I bet minus 10,000 on the no?
Done.
Oh my God, I'll tell you this. If that happens, I'll start going to church every single day. Let's move on to the next one then, man. Worst regular season record. Now, it's probably the Texans. In what, 1.4-1? Seriously? And then you got the Lions hanging out there at 4-1. If I had to make a bet, I would bet my Bears or the Cowboys. I see upside with the Bears, but I also see downside because Nagy's just proven to be a terrible coach so far. Maybe they're awful. I don't know. But you're getting 50 to 1 or 100 to 1 on them. I have to look. Cowboys are 100 to 1. I'm not sure if I'm going to fade them that bad, but I'm just saying it's interesting. I didn't make a play.
Yeah, there's two teams that I'm kind of interested in this one. The Bengals, because again, they're the Bengals. We don't know how Joe Burrow is going to come back from that, from tearing up his knee. Everything that it was CL in his knee blew up. So how is he going to come back? And I'm going to tell the Saints again. We've talked about this with the two quarterbacks. They're getting older. They lost a lot of free agents. What if they come back and play the Aints and their crowds get the paper bags over their head again? I would not be shocked. I'll take the 65 to 1 on the Saints maybe having the worst record in the NFL.
That's a great point. See, more arguments there. It's funny they have the Packers at 25 to 1. Now, God, they're not going to fall that far.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. The Bears are 28 to 1. That's not a play. It's not. No.
Maybe Jim McMahon will walk through that door.
I wish. The guy's awesome. I met him. Very, very cool dude. And cares a lot about charities too. I really.
Yes.
Awesome dude. Let's move on. Next one we have Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I didn't play this because it just feels like it's Trevor Lawrence's award and he's 2 to 1 because he's just going to get used so much. Maybe it's injured. I don't know. He didn't seem to get injured a lot at Clemson. He had the COVID issue, but dude's a stud. He's going to get rushing yards too, even though they're probably going to have 5 or 6 wins this year, right? But I could make a small case for Trey Lance at plus 650 or 6.5 to 1. But I don't think I'm betting it.
There's two of them that I'm looking at. I have not played it. One is Mac and Cheese, even though I think we all agreed that Cam will probably get maybe weeks 1 and 2. And maybe Mac and Cheese comes, if I can get him coming back 3 or 4 and he gets New England to deep in the playoffs, maybe they give it to him. But Najee Harris at Pittsburgh, I'll take him at 6 to 1. I think he's going to get a lot of handoffs and screen passes from Big Ben because let's face it, Big Ben doesn't have his big arm anymore. So I'll take that 6 to 1. If they can maybe win a division or make it to a playoffs and all that, he might get some love. I'll take him at 6 to 1.
No doubt. And if their line turns out well, because they did lose a couple linemen, that's been the big knock against the Pittsburgh Steelers is, they always trick me. They always make it look like they're going to be worse than they are. And then you realize the guys they got from nowhere are fantastic, so they're tricky like that. So maybe so. I can see an argument for that. Nothing I'm going to take. But I do have a play for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And actually, I think I have 3 of them. So
3? Wow.
Well, yeah, you just split up your unit, man. When you're getting good. Well, here's the thing. You got to look at it like this. These players, this award should go to middle linebackers. It does a lot because they're getting the tackles. They're making the impact. It's sexy to go with a cornerback, but that's just rarely happens. They have to get a lot of pick sixes for something like that. It could go with somebody that gets 10 plus sacks, but that's not even common for a rookie either. Middle linebacker like the Kuechly type of guy. That is what I'm thinking. And there's 3 that I like. The obvious one at 4 to 1 is Jermaine Davis, right? And
I can see that.
And so obviously with the other 2 bets you make, it's going to be just 2 to 1. But if he makes it, but that's not the one I'd be rooting for. But I mean, Washington's got that great defense and they have that easy division, and he's already slotted in as a starter as possibly the Mike linebacker right there. He's going to be one of them, left or right in the middle. So he's the one that's obvious, but there's 2 that I like that could hit. And then one is Zaven Collins, like I mentioned earlier, at 12 to 1, because he slotted in at Arizona to be a starting linebacker. In Arizona, he's going to get a lot of tackles against in that division. It's, the 49ers run the ball a ton, right? McVay's going to be running the ball plenty. I don't know about Wilson, but he could get a couple picks there. That would solidify Zaven Collins as a contender at 12 to 1. And Baron Browning at 40 to 1 for Denver. He's a possible starter, but he can play the outside and the inside, right? So you're looking at a guy that's probably going to play a lot anyway. And the first injury, let's just say he doesn't start from the beginning. The first injury that happens, he's the one that's coming off the depth chart in Denver right there. So
I agree in Browning.
Thanks. At 40 to 1, it's something I couldn't turn down. So maybe like a third of a unit or a half unit, whatever you want, is what I'm playing on these.
Yeah, I thought he should have been like around 25 to 1. He maybe even 20 to 1, 40 to 1. There's just too much value right there because you nailed it when you said if he's not a starter, but if there's one injury, he's the one that, hey, you're starting now. And let's face it, defensive injuries is not like 1 week, 2 weeks. Defensive injuries usually 6 weeks or a whole year. So if there's a quick injury early in the season, he'll be the starter for the rest of the season. So I agree. I thought it should have been at least 20 to 30 to 1 for Browning.
All right, great stuff. Liking that one. Next, we're going to move on to the final one, and that is Coach of the Year. And Raph,
Nagy. No, I'm sorry.
Wait, give me like 500 to 1, and I'll bet Nagy. Okay, but I'll tell you this: Justin Fields would probably be the best quarterback out of the draft, hands down, if that happens. But the way that this is simple to me is that why would you bet the Bills to win the Super Bowl at 10 to 1 or 12 to 1 when you can bet Sean McDermott as Coach of the Year at 16 to 1 and they don't even have to win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
In my opinion, he was snubbed last year. You know, that means he's kind of next up. They got better at every single position. They shedded John Brown, which was a great receiver, for another great receiver, Manuel Sanders. They fixed their edge rushing from the draft. And obviously Josh Allen, man, the kid works hard. He works very hard. You can just feel that they're ready to take us to the next level, in my opinion. And so I like that at 16 to 1, and I made a small play on it. But I'm very tempted to take another small play on Kyle Shanahan at 18 to 1. I hate what they did with the quarterback there. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't mean that he's not wrong because he's been right a lot in his career. So I'm tempted to take him, but that's my play. Sure.
I'm going to take the other 16 to 1, and I do have a small play because you know me, I love me some storylines and drama. Bill Belichick at 16 to 1. Why not? You don't need to win the Super Bowl. Just make it to the Super Bowl, and he'll probably be up there in the talks of Coach of the Year. So I had to take Billy B so he can go up to the White House and make fun of Biden like Tom Brady did, making fun of the former president and his visit. So maybe it'd be vice versa. But you know what? Talking to you and doing a little research all day today, we're getting ready for your show. Matt Rule at 22 to 1, I think, is a very interesting play as well. If you kind of want to look at it with all the stuff that we talked about, and then Mike Tomlin. Why not take 25 to 1? If you like Pittsburgh, if you like any of the stuff that I said, as if they win the division and stuff like that, I would think if they make it to the playoffs and maybe not even win the AFC, he's still going to be in the talks for Coach of the Year. So I like 25 to 1. And I did see a 30 to 1 on Mike Tomlin somewhere.
All right, man. No, great stuff. And you know what's funny about, I don't disagree with any of the things that you said about the Panthers. The question that you have to ask yourself is how many times do you want to lose on the same team? You know, I mean, you can get lucky, and you were completely right on this team. And maybe it's not even luck. Maybe you just did a great job and you hit every single one of these. But chances are, even if they do make the playoffs, not every single one's going to hit. The way I look at it is maybe spread it around a little bit. But if you don't take the Panthers to make the playoffs at plus 275, maybe you do take the 22 to 1 that you just mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so spread it out a little bit because you're getting massive plus money. There's a chance they could all hit if obviously the stars align, but don't play against yourself. Stick with your ideas, and you can kind of come with a portfolio of plays that are possibly going to be positive EV coming into the season.
I always tell people, if you're listening to podcasts or shows or stuff like that, listen to what they say and then do your own research. You know, maybe you weren't a Carolina fan or a Pittsburgh fan or an Arizona fan in any of your futures. But you know what? You heard something about, hey, Carolina this, Arizona this, Pittsburgh this. go do your own research and see what you say before you pull the trigger. Just because someone said, hey, I like this team, doesn't mean you have to go run to your wife and say, hey, can I have a raise in my allowance because I want to go bet this team to win Coach of the Year, division, or whatever. I always tell people that not more information is better, because you can listen to someone and say, hey, you know what, he made a lot of sense. Now I'm going to go back and read on that team, and if I agree with what he said on my information, then pull the trigger.
100%. Get information from as many places as possible, because that can only make you better. Raph, thanks so much for coming on this show, man. You did a fantastic job. Where could our listeners and viewers find your great information for the season?
You can find me over at docsports.com. Again, I'm one of the handicappers there, one of the writers there. You can find me on there. You can find all my crazy prop bets over at mybookie.ag, and I do have some doozies coming up, so you can check me out over there. You can find me on Twitter at VSI Doc Sports. You can also find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza.
All right, make sure you guys check out Mr. Raphael Esparza at VSI Doc Sports. Thanks again, Ralph. I'll be looking forward to your emails.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic rest of the summer, and good luck. I'm sure we'll talk before football season kicks off, but I hope you